The next one, marital breakdowns and death. Is there an issue already, do we think? Part of defining the problem is recognising the signs that there is going to be a problem. And in the case study, everyone's picked up that there's a little bit of a problem. What was
separation?
Is it
start?
A separation of the couple, of Angela and David?
Which will put a strain on their relationship.
Which will put a strain on their relationship anyway.
The contact,
sorry. You're right.
The daily contact going out to 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
The actual financial burden they're all under will put a big strain on their relationship.
It will. The other one that I had up on there was death. Death is another thing that could stop someone achieving the goal that they want to achieve. So a business plan. Almost definitely. Okay, so how would the business cope if that event happened? Either of those events happened. If there was a marriage breakdown, for example, how do you think that business would cope? This business to be?
Wouldn't cope.
Not well.
Wouldn't cope, would it? No. So it needs to have a look at that and see whether there's anything that needs to be put into place as a solution. That we now know it is a problem that is part of the problem, the whole business problem of getting to that goal. It's just one of the components. So we need to know what agreements they might have in place to protect the business. Is there a prenup, for example? Is there a shareholders agreement that might dictate how things will happen in the event of a divorce or a death? Is there any insurances that might help in this situation? It won't help in the marital situation, but in the situation of death it might. For example, the firm may have a key man insurance policy. A key man insurance policy will allow for that insurance company to fund a replacement. For example, if David was the one that died, they could find someone with his capabilities and his experience, and insurance would fund that person into that job, so that the business is not under the stress of not just not having him there, but having to pay for somebody as well. So that's one insurance you can get. If this business ended up being separated, but in the same company, and that Angela ran one part of it and David ran the other part of it, and they were now divorced, but they kept doing the business together, what you might do is to have life insurances with those people to fund any buyout of any of the business in the case of the death of one of them. So, for example, if Angela's business was worth, well, let's say it had gone great guns and it was now worth $1 million, David's still dealing in that business. Angela may have a new partner now. She's left the shares in the company to the new partner. What's going to happen? The new partner's going to say, I'm a shareholder now, I want my money. By putting an insurance policy in place that covers Angela's death, can then be used to fund the buyout of the partner out of that business, so that it's there. So yes.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Who would buy that insurance? Would it be Angela, or would it be?
There's several ways of doing it, but the most effective way is that Angela buys insurance on herself, and then you have an agreement for sale of the business for $1. Okay, so for her shares for $1. And so those two go hand in hand, they're tied together in that agreement. So what happens is that you insure her for $1 million. She dies, that $1 million is then there for her partner or her family, whatever it is. And they then have an agreement that says the share is sold for $1.
I'm Alexa McLaughlin. Why would you need to do it that way? Because surely each of them's got an insurable interest in the other, haven't they?
Yes, tax.
Okay. Thank you.
It works better for tax purposes, and that's why you do it. Now, you would think that she's only getting $1 for the business, but in fact, because they're related people, there's a rule in tax that says when you're dealing with someone that's related to you and not at arm's length, the market value substitution rule comes in. So if it was worth $1 million, the tax would be paid on $1 million, even though there's only $1 gone. However, you don't have to pay tax on the insurance proceeds as well, so there's that benefit. Whereas if I insure you and you insure me, there can be a tax consequence to doing that when you're in business. So there are reasons to do that. And the other part of it is that sometimes the insurance policy doesn't quite work and someone ends up with the money that shouldn't end up with it, and therefore you haven't got that payout of things. So it's all done to make sure that those type of things don't happen.